Arcadian Vanguard presents The Wrestling News in your daily wrestling newscast for Thursday, April 11th, 2024. Good morning, I'm Mike Sempervive. We begin today with AEW Dynamite, which aired on TBS from the Charleston Coliseum in Charleston, West Virginia. Last night's show featured a segment presented by AEW Executive Vice Presidents Matt and Nick Jackson, where the pair showed surveillance video from the incident between CM Punk and Jack Perry backstage during last August's All-In pay-per-view at Wembley Stadium in London. The video did not have sound and shows Punk approaching Perry backstage. The two exchanged words before Punk shoved Perry and put him in a front face lock before the two were broken up by Samoa Joe, referee Paul Turner, company agents Chris Hero and Jerry Lynn, among others. Before and after showing the footage, the Jacksons weaved in their current storyline with FTR, questioning if the team was actually the masterminds behind the incident between Perry and Punk, as well as blaming the fight as a distraction, which caused their loss on that day to FTR. The segment led to FTR coming down to the ring and cutting a promo stating that they're ready to move on from the incident. Dynamite had opened with Swerve Strickland attacking AEW World Champion Samoa Joe as Joe made his way down to the ring for his match against Dustin Rhodes.
Very impassioned Dustin Rhodes this past Saturday on Collision, but Joe put on the brakes, and now Joe with a spear!
Oh, Joe hit the back of his head on that table.
He might be out. Yeah, look at his eyes, Taz.
Yeah, Joe might be out. Shivani, you're right. Back of Joe's skull, definitely. Not only through the table, but, man, into that guardrail there.
And our medical team right there on the spot as Swerve Strickland, a crazed look in his eyes.
That match was moved to the main event segment of the show, where Joe would defeat Rhodes in a non-title eliminator bout after Joe hit Rhodes in the head with his championship belt. Following the match, Strickland used the steel chain to once again attack Joe until the locker room emptied to separate them. In other results, Adam Copeland made the second defense of his TNT title reign, putting down the challenge of Pentel Zero Miedo. Mariah May defeated Anna Jay. Following the match, Jay attacked May, choking her in the Queen Slayer until Mina Shirakawa, May's tag team partner in Stardom, made the save. Also on the show in a six-man tag team match, Anthony Ogogo, Lee Moriarty, and Shane Taylor beat Chris Jericho, Hook, and Katsuyori Shibata. And in a non-title match, AEW Continental Champion Kazuchika Okada dispatched of Cristiano Argento in 80 seconds. In business news, a filing with the Securities and Exchange Commission on Tuesday revealed that Dwayne Johnson received 96,558 Class A shares of TKO Group following his match on Night 1 of WrestleMania. In January, Johnson signed a promotional deal with WWE and accepted an invitation to join TKO's board of directors, which came with a stock award valued at $30 million. Johnson received a quarter of that stock up front, with another 50% being awarded incrementally until the end of 2025. The other 25% of the stock was contingent on Johnson completing, quote, certain services described in that independent contractor services and merchandising agreement, end quote. On Wednesday afternoon, TKO stock price closed at $97.55, which puts the value of Johnson's shares at nearly $9.42 million. In ratings news, NXT drew an audience of 647,000 viewers to USA Network Tuesday night, according to WrestleNomics. That's up less than 1% from last week's number of 641,000, but it makes the best number the show has done since March 5th. The Stand and Deliver Fallout show delivered a .19 rating in the 18 to 49-year-old demographic, which is down from last week's .20. And we close with some sad news to report. The sumo and professional wrestler known as Akebono passed away on Wednesday at the age of 54 years old due to heart failure. Born Chadwick Haeo Roman on May 8, 1969, in Waimanalo, Oahu, Hawaii, Rowan began his sumo career in 1988 and quickly found success due to his great size and athleticism. Rowan took the name of Akebono Taro, and at 6 feet 8 inches tall and over 500 pounds, he became one of the largest sumos to ever compete in the sport. In 1993, Akebono became the first foreigner to achieve the status of Yokozuna, the highest rank bestowed upon sumos. After a series of back and leg injuries forced him to retire, the popular sumo was courted into the world of kickboxing. In 2003, Akebono joined the K1 promotion and made his fighting debut on New Year's Eve against Bob Sapp. Although quickly losing to Sapp in 1 minute and 55 seconds by knockout, the spectacle of the bout attracted over 40,000 fans to the Saitama Super Arena, and delivered an estimated 54 million viewers to the Tokyo Broadcasting System telecast of the fight. Unsuccessful as a kickboxer, Akebono would also try his hand in mixed martial arts before turning to the world of pro wrestling, where his celebrity status also opened doors. On March 29, 2005, Akebono made his pro wrestling debut in Houston, Texas by quickly dispatching of Eddie Vegas on WWE SmackDown. Days later, on April 5, 2005, Akebono would appear at WrestleMania in a sumo match where he downed the Big Show. After wrestling one more match for WWE during the company's July 2005 tour of Japan, Akebono would soon become a regular for All Japan Pro Wrestling, where he went on to win the Triple Crown on 2 different occasions in 2013 and 2015. Generally a babyface throughout his career, Akebono also worked for several other Japanese-based companies, including New Japan, Dragon Gate, and Pro Wrestling 01. Soon after he wrestled his last match in April of 2017, Akebono suffered acute heart failure, needing to be placed into a medically induced coma, and was later confined to a wheelchair. In a statement issued Wednesday night, the United States ambassador to Japan, Rahm Emanuel, stated, quote, "I was deeply saddened to learn of the passing of Akebono, a giant in the world of sumo, a proud Hawaiian, and a bridge between the United States and Japan. When Akebono became the first ever foreign-born grand champion, sumo's highest rank in 1993, he opened the door for other foreign wrestlers to find success in the sport. Throughout his 35 years in Japan, Akebono strengthened the cultural ties between the United States and his adopted homeland by uniting us all through sport. I send my sincerest condolences to his family and friends and to sumo fans everywhere." End quote. Once again, Chad Rowan, known professionally as Akebono, has passed away at the age of 54. And before we leave you today, we'd like to remind you that however you consume your content, you can find the wrestling news 24 hours a day and 7 days a week across social media. On Twitter, follow us at Wrestling News AV. Our Facebook page is also Wrestling News AV. The Wrestling News can also be found on the Arcadian Vanguard YouTube page. And for those who utilize Amazon Echo devices, just tell Alexa to play the Wrestling News podcast. And remember to make sure you add podcast at the end. Once again, for daily updates, breaking news, and more, follow the Wrestling News across social media. And that's the news for today. If anything happens, we will be here to tell you about it. No clickbait, no paywall, just the Wrestling News. The Wrestling News is a division of Arcadian Vanguard, and the Wrestling Newscast is a production of the Arcadian Vanguard Podcast Network.